Why, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Coffee Connections. My name is Seth Weiner. I'm your host of Coffee Connections, and I am your Rocktioneer. Folks, happy holiday time. It is starting to feel it. It's cold again outside. I'm loving it. I do want to go for a run, but I think I'm going to have to layer up on this one. At any rate, though, that's not why you're here. I do want to give just a couple announcements. One of them is I want to welcome all of our guests back to the show on Thursday, December 17th, because what we're going to be doing then, Coffee Connections is going to be giving one lucky organization. We're going to spin a prize wheel, and everyone that's been a guest on Coffee Connections will be entered. Their organization will be entered in, and we're going to be giving away a travel package in which they can use in their next fundraiser. And that travel package is provided by HGA Fundraising. Big thank you to them for that. And really excited about that. Other news, I want to let you know our upcoming guests. This Thursday, we've got the Bremen Museum, Jeremy Katz. On Tuesday, the 15th, Career Up Now, Bradley Cook. And Thursday, the 17th, when we do that big wheel there, the Jewish Federation of Greater Atlanta, Eric Robbins is going to be joining us. And our last guest of 2020 on Tuesday, the 22nd, Ladies of Favor. So that's what's coming up. And also just a quick announcement too. As you know, I am in the music industry. I'm also the host of the other podcast I'm a co-host, I should say, of Inside Out with Turner and Seth. And in light of music, I want to tell you all about an auction that I'm hosting this Thursday and Friday, December 10th and 11th, the Stand with the Band. It's a fundraiser for artist crisis relief, and that's not just for artists. It's for musicians, it's for crew, it's for anyone in the music industry, essentially, and it's by Atlanta Collective, ATL Collective. That's ATL Collective, and there's going to be music and fundraising, a live auction, etc. So super excited about that. Now it's time to get into our Coffee Connections this week. Today, we've got South Art, Susie Surkamer here. Now, South Art's mission is to nourish, create conversation, and strengthen community ties. South Arts exists to support the artists, art organizations, and communities that help this region thrive, and this region being the South, folks. Susie began as the South Arts Chief Executive back in 2012. Previously, she had been the Executive Director of the South Carolina Arts Commission until she retired in 2009. Her past service includes President of the National Assembly of State Arts Agencies, NASA with an extra A, folks. She was the Treasurer of the Association of Performing Arts Presenters. She's members of the Coca-Cola Scholarship National Selection Committee, a member of the National Arts Education Partnership Steering Committee, and so much more. I'm going to have her tell you all about herself because she can do a much better job because she's got a huge career behind her and she's bringing it all to South Art. So ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and get our screen right and welcome to the show, Susie. Hello.
Hello, Seth. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to Coffee Connections. It's time for a little coffee talk. Do you drink coffee?
I do. And I'm advertising one of our programs, Southern Circuit, which I will mention a little bit later about what that is.
Okay.
I definitely drink coffee.
Yeah, okay. So are you a dark coffee, a light coffee? Where are you at?
No, more of a medium roast. And this year, I tend to like a coffee that has a little flavor. So right now, I'm drinking pumpkin spice.
Okay.
And then I might switch to Christmas blend. And then just go back to regular medium roast. So.
All right. Now, are you a Keurig, or are you a drip, or are you a French press kind of gal?
Well, I'm a drip and occasionally a Keurig, and occasionally we'll, fix some cappuccinos and things like that.
So do you have your own frother?
I do.
I had one once, and I sure miss it. I tell you, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
Oh man! And in the summer, are you an iced coffee drinker?
I'm not.
No. Okay.
I will drink a iced Americano, which is a little different than an iced coffee, but and I do that winter or summer, whatever. But no, I've never gotten into iced coffee.
Ah, all right. Well, yeah, I feel you on the Americano. That's if I'm gonna go to like a Dunkin' Donuts, I order the and go hot. I order the Americano because it's just if you're gonna get if you got to get the little caffeine if you're gonna do it, right?
That's right. Well, I'm also into some of those frou-frou drinks as far as, like Frappuccinos or Dunkin' Donuts. They have a comparative type of thing called a frozen coffee. And so I like those too. I like variety.
So you like coffee as a stimulant and as a dessert.
Correct. The problem is coffee has never been a stimulant to me. I was the type that when I was at
Oh,
school, I could drink it all night long and it didn't make me stay awake. So I just like the taste.
wow. Okay. I wish I could say the same for me, but if I drink a little too much caffeine, I mean, I'm an auctioneer, so imagine how fast I talk when I'm
Yeah.
caffeinated.
But yeah, oh, I bet.
Well, speaking of caffeination, which I don't think has anything to do with the South, but it does have to do with the heat and the hot coffee, and that's where we're going with the hot South. Can you tell everyone about South Arts?
I can and be happy to. So, South Arts is one of six regional arts organizations across this country. Every state is a member of one of the six regional arts organizations. Our states are from North Carolina, south through Florida, west through Louisiana, Tennessee, and Kentucky. So, we have a nice gathering of nine states. We actually, of the six regionals, have the second largest population of any of the regional arts organizations. So we're excited about that. We have a lot of constituents to serve. And South Arts started in the mid 70s. And what you have as far as the national arts landscape, you might say, is you have the National Endowment for the Arts, which is a federal agency.
Hmm.
Then you have every state has a state arts agency. And so back in the 70s, they said, well, there's nobody who's really concerned about what happens between states. So that was when the six regional arts organizations were set up. And South Arts has been in existence ever since. It has done a variety of types of work. But what I would say is very consistent for us has been working with the performing arts and presenters in particular, presenters being those like the Fox Theater, et cetera, that
Oh, wonderful.
have an ensemble that performs on stage for a live audience. But in recent years, we have changed significantly and are working in many more art forms. Not that we only did performing arts, we certainly have done programs in other art forms. And folk arts has also been an area where we have consistently worked. But in the last several years, we have made a concerted effort to expand the number of art forms that we work in and also to focus on Southern artists, rural areas of the South, and expanding the numbers and types of organizations that we work with. So we work with arts organizations, but we also work with cities and non-arts organizations and social service agencies, et cetera. So that's our purpose is to try to move art across state borders, provide opportunities for local communities to see art that is not necessarily right there in their own community. And that is what I would call an expansion of the excellent art that they probably already have in their community, but also want to see other types of art that maybe is not produced in their community. So we help assist in that way.
That's wonderful. So one of the questions that comes to mind is not every, but a lot of, especially in the South, there's so many historic theaters that are, small theaters that have been around and they, host touring acts and touring productions, etc. Do you work with a lot of them and support that?
We do have a program that supports regional touring, and it sometimes goes to historic theaters and sometimes to community centers, sometimes to churches. It pretty much any organization that wants to present something for a live audience is eligible to apply to us. We only have one program that works with the commercial sector. clubs, etc. Our program does allow that, but the rest of our programs really work with nonprofit organizations.
So walk us through the process. How would someone get involved, and then how would they benefit?
So we are always trying to expand our visibility in the South, and we do what most organizations do. We do e-blasts, we do social media, et cetera, et cetera, and basically it refers organizations to our website, where it is, we feel, pretty easily navigated, so that organizations can see if there are areas that they would like to be interested in, and they can contact us directly by phone, or they can contact us by email and find out more about those programs. And our staff is always happy to talk with someone about what we do and how we might be able to be involved with them.
That's awesome. You mentioned the program in the beginning you had on your coffee mug. Tell us a little bit about that program and what, yeah.
Yeah, Southern Circuit is a program that we are the only regional in the country that does this type of program. And Southern Circuit is a tour of independent filmmakers. The filmmakers can be from anywhere in the United States, but we only tour them to Southern communities. They come to that community, whether it's a college or a nonprofit organization. They come there with their film. They show the film to a live audience, and then there's a question and answer period afterwards, so that the audience can really find out about what motivated that artist to do that particular film in that particular location. Frequently, the filmmaker will also do an educational component in the community or at a local school or a college, etc. Right now, of course, we are not doing that live. As far as live with a local audience, but we are continuing the program. We do it virtually, and so the audience is able to be there virtually and to ask questions of the filmmaker, etc.
That's awesome. So that's my next question is, as COVID hit, I mean, everything stopped. So what have you all done in addition to this? I mean, this is great. You went virtual with this, but have you gone virtual with a lot of stuff, or have you kind of held back?
Well, a lot of our work is done, at the local level with a theater or a community center, et cetera. And it depends on what they are doing at the moment. So we have what we call grantees, those that we fund to do something at the local level. So the grantees during this particular time have been allowed to go from live performances or live showings of the filmmakers to virtual. They also have been allowed to change if they were going to get an artist from California or Nebraska that cannot travel right now. They are allowed to substitute an artist that might be within driving range of their community, and also frequently allowed to use a local artist that they have not worked with before. So we have changed. It has meant that sort of daily, we are discussing things with our grantees and making decisions about allowing them to do things, which is what this particular time in history in our country mandates. And we're happy to be able to have the flexibility to make those changes. We are also looking towards next fiscal year, which starts in July, and what programs would be really able for local communities to participate in. So we are looking at that. We also did 4 programs specifically related to COVID relief and recovery and resilience. So the first one, we distributed federal funds to organizations that were specifically BIPOC or culturally specific organizations or rural organizations to try to help them with relief. We ran a national program called Jazz Road Quick Assist Grants, which funded 450 jazz musicians across the country and also Puerto Rico and DC with $1,000 grants.
Fantastic.
Relief. The third program we ran was a program that was funded by a national foundation, and it provided significant funds to a variety of organizations in the South that serve a larger constituency than their local area. They had to be organizations that were statewide or regional in their area that they served. And so that we actually distributed about $1.65 million in that program. And that was for resilience. So, with the pandemic, you go through relief and then recovery and eventually resiliency. And so focus on how can you look at the future for a year and a half from now? What can you do now to help you be an organization that thrives and is vital at that particular point? Last, quickly, is a program with the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., that they were doing an everyday series, Monday through Friday, of performances by artists across the country. And so we worked with them to help give visibility to a whole variety of artists in each of our 9 states. And they got visibility to 50,000 people that watched that series.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Wow. And helping all these musicians, and it's just so great. One of the concerns that is very, very, very much like present right now is like these clubs and venues that and theaters, they've been holding on as tight as they can, and we're about to see. We saw the Jazz Standard in New York go down, and we're going to start seeing a lot more of these venues go down. And it's really sad, to see these historic venues just going to be going away. Do you provide any assistance to the venues, or is it just to the artists and focusing on that?
Well, it is. We certainly did the one program with artists. The other program many of them were venues, not commercial venues, but nonprofit venues, whether it was a historic theater or some other type of organization that does presentations, or maybe they work with children, et cetera. So the funds that we distributed through that fund certainly help, hopefully are helping to keep people in jobs and those venues. We feel very pressed and committed to trying to find additional funds to provide to organizations throughout the South. And so we work on that continually, trying to find funding for that.
Now, you said funding, and it's gotten my mind going. That's a lot of money that you've been able to help give and grant out there. Where do you get your funding from?
So our funding predominantly comes from the National Endowment for the Arts, state arts agencies, some revenue from specific programs that we run, and then we do have some funding grants from some national foundations, foundations that provide arts funding as well as other types of funding. So those are the main areas. We have not really been involved with corporate fundraising or individual fundraising to any extent. Mm-hmm. That's where we have looked for funding. We are looking to try and expand the different areas that we do look for funds. It's a little more challenging as a regional arts organization because we don't have a specific event for them to go to. We don't have a venue for someone to come and enjoy something. It's a little more challenging, but we certainly have been successful. Our budget 3 years ago was a little over $2 million. It's around $6 or $7 million right now.
Well, that's amazing.
We have been successful and are grateful for that.
Yeah. Now, with COVID, did you see the fundraising more challenging to get those funds, or did they come in greater and easier, or how did that work?
Well, for us, being a regional organization that has the ability to distribute funds quickly and easily across many states, there were organizations, funders that were interested in working with us to do that. And so, yes, we have been lucky and been the recipient without having, to do individual fundraisers, et cetera.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I love what the organization is doing, and there's such a need for it, and it's gonna be really interesting when things come back and how they come back. And 'cause I just don't think it's gonna happen quickly, but I do feel that unlike most other things, this is going to be the first time that the smaller artists and performers are going to be able to, they're going to be the first ones back. The smaller venues are going to be the first ones back. And I think that's kind of a neat thing because, everyone, it's not going to be a race to see these headliners and huge Broadway shows, etc. It's going to be the smaller stuff that gets visibility first. Now, that's really an exciting time for artists, I think.
You're absolutely right. And I also think that it's a time that many local artists that have not gotten much recognition but are excellent artists.
Yeah.
I think it's a time where many of them will see more visibility, which hopefully will help their careers long term.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's just fantastic what you all are doing, folks. Please do go to southarts.org to learn more about South Arts and to get involved in any way you can, or to just learn about the organization more than you did here. So again, that's southarts.org. Susie, is there anything else that we maybe glanced over or you want to that maybe we didn't cover?
Not really. Well, I take that back. I would like to say that please do go to our website because we have some very exciting things going on right now, in particular for visual artists, our Southern Prize and Fellowship Program, which awards $5,000 to one visual artist in each of our states, and a $25,000 Southern Prize to one of those 9, and a $10,000 prize to one of those 9. And that is open and running right now. So that's one that I'd like to comment on. And that's probably it, I guess, at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I got to ask you something. If I read correctly, it said you were retired before you became the CEO and president of South Arts. Is that right?
It is correct. I flunked, I guess, at that particular time. There were reasons why I retired, et cetera. My mother was very elderly and I wanted to spend time with her. And after she passed at 98 and a half,
wow, mazel tov.
And I'd been able to spend some time with her, I was freer to be able to come back to the work world. And so I'm very delighted to be here in Atlanta working with South Arts. And, my next retirement, who knows what I'll get involved with at that time.
Well, whoever it is going to be lucky for sure. Before you go, I ask all of my guests to recommend a future guest. Is there a nonprofit organization in Atlanta that you'd like to recommend for Coffee Connections?
I would. I'd like to recommend the Atlanta Regional Commission and Josh Phillipson, who is on the staff there and heads up their arts endeavors.
That would be awesome. I appreciate that. Email introduction after this. Thank you again. And folks, one last time, go to southarts.org and we'll see you again here Thursday. Wait, I almost thought it was I thought it was, oh my gosh. I just thought it was Thursday. Wow, it's Tuesday. So I will see you all Thursday I think I need a coffee here for Coffee Connections. Thanks so much, Susie. Everyone, we'll see you again.
Thanks.
All right.